rises, where champions emerge and redefine the game, where limits are tested and greatness is unleashed. This is when legends are born. Super League Basketball. A new dawn is here.
Super League Basketball Championship game. Teams have made their way to the benches for the official team introductions. Up first, please give a warm welcome to our visitors, the Bristol Flyers. And their roster for tonight, wearing number 1, Keely Johnson. Then number 3, Louis. Number 4, Corey Senios. Number 8, Abuka Ekwe. Number 7, Captain Brett Thomas Edwards. Number 13, Owen McCormick. Number 15, Javon Robinson. Number 21, Leslie Smith. Number 22, Kendall Lewis. Number 14, Pascali Landolfi. And number 77, Edmund Walsh. Their head coach is Andreas Kopulas, assisted by Bruce Bourne and Nick Burns.
Coach, you guys come into London with a very important game for you. Of course, when you look at the playoff seedings, how big is this game?
Every game is important at this point of the season. You know, we're coming from a home loss to Surrey. We've been playing some good basketball, picked up a couple of good wins before that. But every game is tough. And London, obviously, they're coming from a loss as well. The Surrey coming back, they're playing for the league title. So everything is on the line. We've got to give everything we have.
How is your playoff strategy different playing a team like London as opposed to Surrey?
I think the game plan, the preparation is very similar in terms of putting it together. But certainly you're playing a team that is physical. You've got to make sure you do a great job of defending transition and protecting the lane, rebounding the basketball. And in some things, it's some things that we've got to do with every team in our league. Our league is very competitive. But certainly with London, the margin for error is smaller.
How is your team as far as health goes with these last 5 games of the season? I know everyone's kind of banged up at this point of the season. How are you guys?
Well, we've got everyone playing today, so hopefully that will stay for the remaining games as well.
All right. Who's the most important player for you tonight that they have to get off to a great start to have you guys get a chance?
I think for us, I think everyone contributing is so important. You know, we have guys like Damon Robinson and Keely Johnson who lead our scoring, but I think for us to be successful, everyone has to contribute.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Assisted by Father Kaya, Jordan Lockdown, Rob Youngberg, Clive Castello, and Laminus Iglesias. Couple of Arena, give it up and make some noise for your London Lakers! Let me say Lantern Lions, Lantern Lions, Lantern Lions.
Lightning
joined us here. Of course, I mentioned earlier on, you've seen one of our players have won Player of the Month. So please welcome our General Manager, Liverpool.
Coach, you guys are coming off a loss. This is a very important game for you with just 4 games after this. What's your mentality going into this game here at home?
Now we got to definitely have a better approach for the 40 minutes, better approach in the way of physicality, energy, especially on the defensive end.
You guys are a pretty deep team, but you've taken some big hits on injuries. Last game you have some of your 3 best players not playing. How do you adjust your rotation with that?
Yeah, some of the other players got to step up and fill that absence and gaps. But, you know, I feel every team had the similar situations throughout the season. So for us, timing is not perfect, but we gotta step up and work the best we can.
Your final 4 games after this are pretty tough. You have some of the top teams coming either here or you have to go there. How important are those games to you as far as seeding, or are you just focusing on league title right now?
I mean, this is you know, strong games before playoffs. You cannot ask for better situations. So of course we are aiming to hold our position and seed position, but you know, we'll see how it's going next 4 games.
What does the Bristol Flyers bring to London? What I don't say scares you about them, but what do they bring that you have to really watch out for?
You know, they're a well-balanced team. They have the paint touches. They have you know, 3-point shots. It's a very good mix. They have players who really are capable to create their own shots. So you know, every game against them was very interesting.
Coach, appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
It's game day. The Lions would like to thank their sponsors for this season: NordVPN, Sailing, Separated.co.uk, our official hydration sponsor Catwater, Sportcenter, Ocean Outdoor, New City College, the University of Westminster, and Down Anvil. Your game officials for tonight: Crew Chief Joshua Bowe and umpires Steve Ferris and Tanya Akar. Arena. It's that time once again for us to let you know what our house rules are. Before we get started though, if this is your first time at the Copperbox Arena, can you make some noise for me please? Okay, we got some newcomers, so London Lions fans, if you've been here before, I'm going to need your help for the house rules. Rule number one is very simple. We need you to lose your inhibitions, enjoy yourself. It's a Wednesday night and it's half term, so we need all the energy that you have. And speaking of energy, rule number two is nice and simple. When you hear this noise, that's the Lions roar. It means that I need you to make as much noise as possible. So DJ Kaz, hit the Lions roar for me. I don't know guys, I think we can do a bit louder than that. DJ Kaz, hit this out one more time, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Now the final rule is the most important. Before the start of every game, I need everyone to get up on their feet. Get up on your feet, get up on your feet. And you guys are not allowed to sit down until our London Lions score their first point in the basket. So if you're here for the London Lions, let me hear you make some noise. It's time to get this ball game on the way. Once again, the ball to win. You're supporting the Lions. Make some noise. And we stay standing until the Lions score. So let's see you on defense. Foul is called. Foul is called. Number 44 has the advantage. Something like possession for the Bristol Flyers. Let's go, Lions, let's go! Let's see him on defense. Let's see you now on Brown on defense.
Leslie Smith, a 64% free throw shooter, 6'8" forward out of Tortola, British Virgin Islands. So it's a 7-4 Flyer lead early on here in the first quarter. Glad to have you with us here in London at the Copper Box as we get ready for SLB playoffs. Less than 2 weeks away, and there'll be a foul down below as Tanner Stuckman put a shot up after the foul was called. This Bristol squad has been impressive as of late. I know they're coming off a loss, and the last time they played London NBA, they did not get the best of the Lions, but it's a very talented team, and Coach Kapoulis, with that 20 years of experience, not a lot he hasn't seen.
Yeah, you know, he's been around the block, as they say,
Yeah.
and he's kind of seen everything. So he's not going to be worried about how the season's going on. He just knows if you're in the playoffs, you got to be in it to win it.
Elaine Lewis with a steal and puts it in. The reason why that was so much easier than it probably should have been is Hadzibegovic already has one foul. Didn't want to pick the second in the first quarter. He gets fouled down below, and he'll get the continuation as Hadzibegovic will go to the line for the and one. And Leslie Smith picks up his first. That was a great pass. Can't get the second fall, rolls off, so Hadzibegovic, as a 41% free throw shooter, struggles there from the line. 9-6 is the score. Extending the defense way out. Shot clock at 5. On the drive, can't get it to fall. That would have been a tough one if he got it in there. Hadzibegovic was hounding Elaine Louis, and that's 6'10 going up against 6'1.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're saying at the top of the show, you know, trying to defend the rim and keep guys, even if he doesn't block shots, he changes shots.
Stuckman misses the three-point, gets his own rebound. They reset the shot clock there. Now it's back down to 5. Hadzibegovic inside, off the glass, can't get it to fall. Beautiful follow-up by Adi Adebayo.
I feel like it's a clash of the titans right now. Both teams going inside to their bigs. Old school basketball being played right now.
First bucket of the game was a three-pointer. Since then, not a lot of shots from deep range. Nice drive to the hole. Hadzibegovic is going to get called for the goaltend. Loved the effort, though, but he was a little late on the rotation, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think he knew it. He was going to have an open layup. So just even though he was late, you know, I think it's a bit of a game within the game, you know, a bit of mind games, letting him know nothing's going to be easy.
So Adebayo takes a seat. Remember, he has been injured for the last few games, so he comes in and gives him a strong first 4.5 minutes, and he'll give way to Terrell 2 Holloway, the 6-foot point guard out of Hempstead, New York, played his college ball at Xavier. And he is going to be a great matchup. Holloway thought about it, had the ball taken away on the entry pass. Key Johnson gives it to the trailer, back to him. Owen McCormick checking into the game now with the rock. Turns. Tried to get it on the trailer on the other side to Rafael Thomas Edwards, and it's intercepted by Rye. Holloway. Quick, and he'll get the and one. He's a pit bull, isn't he? I mean, he's not your typical guard.
Nah, he's got the scorer's mentality. He's had it since he was in college, and he's obviously led him into a strong pro career. I think he's in year 13 now. Played against him myself actually in Mexico, I was going to say a few years back.
Just a few years back. I was going to say that's a great matchup with Holloway and Elaine Louis of Canada going head-to-head, but Louis is going to take a seat as he picks up a foul, and they're going to sub in another guard in Corey Samuels. So Samuels comes into the game, as does, looks like Evan Walsh is also checked into the game for the Bristol Flyers. Holloway hits the and one. Not even halfway through the first quarter, and we are all even at 11.
I'd love to see it from Bristol. You know, you got 2 British guards coming in, playing obviously at the highest level, and one obviously in Evan Walsh being a national team member, but, you know, 2 British guys coming in and playing some good basketball.
Ball knocked away into the hands of Key Johnson. He got to the lane, and then Peterson fouls him. And had nothing else to do because it looked like Johnson had some bad intentions for the rim there, so Tyler Peterson is called for the foul. Jaden Dallaire also checking back in. And a 3 buried. First shot for Owen McCormick, and he hits it.
Guys coming in not shy, you know. McCormick here hitting the 3, 2 Holloway on the other end getting the and one. Guys coming in ready to play straight away.
Now this is a powerful twin tower situation for the London Lions when you've got Jaden Dallaire and Alan Hadzibegovic, and Dallaire goes right to work and gets his first bucket to fall. So an interesting lineup for the London Lions. You got the bigs and Dallaire and Hadzibegovic, then you got Aaron Rye, who's kind of a hybrid, and then really 3 guards with Peterson, Holloway out on the sides. Got the man up in the air. Here comes Aaron Rye with the ball, head up, looking. Stop ball, and they'll call a foul before Aaron Rye puts in a circus shot to drop.
Vintage Aaron Rye, you know, coast to coast,
Yeah.
trying to draw the contact. But I think knowing the game plan, Evan Walsh knowing that Aaron Rye is the guy that likes to go coast to coast and finish, picking the foul up before he was in the shooting motion.
You know what's great about Aaron Rye, and I've heard this said many times before, he's not going to beat you with quickness. He might beat you with his slowness, but he's just so efficient with everything he does.
Yeah, everything's deliberate, especially with that change of pace and the Euro step.
Holloway crosses over, comes in, little baby sky hook, gets it to fall. Beautiful floater from 2 Holloway.
And he looks very, very comfortable tonight. You know, he's a mid-season acquisition, coming in, trying to find himself, and sometimes it's tough, but tonight it looks like he's coming in confident.
Oh, hello. Owen McCormick letting his presence be felt. Back-to-back threes for the big man. 6'9" forward, 10 points in the last game versus London, so he's got 6 already here in the first. Holloway feeds it up to Hazibegovic. That was a beautiful pass and a beautiful finish. Didn't know how he got the handle on that, NBA.
Good hands, good touch.
You got to like it when a big works that hard. You got to reward him, right?
Yep, definitely. Good
But
screen.
you would have thrown that down, correct?
Young me, maybe.
Back in Seattle, that would have been thrown down hard. 3:18 to play in the first quarter. 10-minute quarters here in the SLB. It's all tied up at 17 as Keith Johnson has the opportunity to take a break. So they'll go with Corey Samuels on the court as they sub in Kendall Lewis for Johnson. Elaine Louis also checks back into the game. So Bristol showing that they can go with a hybrid lineup as well. Some bigs out there. Corey Samuels, probably the smallest player on the court with Elaine Louis, and then they've got those 3 hybrid big players with Walsh, McCormick, and of course Kendall Lewis, who just checked into the game. Are we still in the feeling out period right now, or do you think this pace favors one of the other teams?
I think, to be honest, high-paced scoring lines are probably going to be more favored. Usually with the deeper team, more athletic team, they kind of like the run-and-gun, showtime type basketball. But that being said, obviously, it's very early. Bristol started off in the lead as well, so it'll be interesting to see if they're able to keep it up throughout the full 40 minutes.
Stuckman makes 1 of 2. I was going to mention, as he was taking those foul shots on the bench, you've got Ovi Soko and Michael Briscoe. So you got the captain and you got one of your leading scorers in there. Does London play a different brand of basketball with them not in there?
I think they're able to still do that same style of basketball. As a team, the lines are very, very deep. They got a lot of guys that may not every night score, but they have, 3, 4, 5 different guys that can put up 20 on any given night.
Evan Walsh gets a tough bucket to fall, was looking for the and one, doesn't get it. There is Ovi Soko, Michael Brisker looking on with intent. Beautiful layup, can't get it to fall. Great defense and an even better follow by Tyler Peterson.
Great work right there, and you see even the guards are coming down and crashing the boards there. One of the Lions' positive things that they've done all season long is hit the offensive glass and create second chance opportunities.
Stuckman has to go out on McCormick because he's already hit 2 threes, and Evan Walsh, he doesn't have a problem pulling trigger. He Euro steps across the middle, he's fouled as he slashes into the lane. And they're going to get Aaron Rye or Stuckman. Oh, they're going to get on Holloway. So it's before he even drove in. And this is where Petr Bosic has a luxury as he brings in Adi Adebayo back in as starter, as well as Kieran Sandy. And they are a similar type ball player. Both of them extremely athletic. Both will be active. They'll both defend like crazy.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You got your young local British kids, coming out here working hard, playing hard. Obviously, Ade Adebayo is known for his defense. Kieran Sandy can do a little bit of both, can stretch the floor a bit and shoot a 3 as well as get to the cup. So be interested to see how they fare tonight.
Walsh hits both of them, so both teams bringing in some great homegrown talent from both Bristol and London. As the score is now 21-20 as we approach 2 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Todd Harris alongside Matthew Bryan and Manning. Glad to have you with us here in the Copper Box in London. Jaden Dallaire catches it, kicks it out to Adebayo. He thought about it for a second, gave it back to Dallaire. Dallaire lines up a 3, gets it to rattle home.
And there we go. Just like we said about Aaron Rye, Jaden Dallaire's a Swiss Army knife in his own right. He can do a little bit of everything.
Jaden Dallaire, one of the smartest players maybe on the court. Of course, he went to university at Stanford. They don't just let anyone in there. And, of course, Aaron Ryan went to Dartmouth, another place that I was not invited to play. But Jaden Dallaire had the common sense to say, you know what, after I'm done Stanford, where's another beautiful place to go play? I got an idea. How about San Diego? He went for double down on the California schools.
Smart man, smart man. You can see why he got into Stanford.
Not the same weather you had in Seattle.
Not at all.
But you enjoyed your time at the University of Washington.
Of course, second home. You know, the rainy city, just like London.
The Emerald City, it is a beautiful place. As Stuckman now goes to the line with 1:33 to play in the first, and he's not going to get that one to rattle home. So a bit of frustration as he'll look to cap in and get the second one to drop in. Lions have a 2-point lead, 23-21. Looking to break a 3-game losing streak. And I'm wondering if that's the first time the London Lions have had a 3-game losing streak in Petter Bosic's 3-year career here in the capital city.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to check that.
I mean, you think about it, they're 21-7. If they don't have that 3-game losing streak, this is a dominating 24-14. Beautiful pass underneath, and it ends with a nice dunk. Damon Robinson throws it down.
I just love when you give somebody a shout out at the top of the show and they decide to show out in the first quarter.
Might have heard you. Someone at home said, hey, by the way, NBA's talking you up. You better perform. Holloway gives up his dribble, finds Dallaire. Dallaire, nice little stutter step, can't get it to fall, gets his own rebound. 3 pink jerseys around him, can't get it to fall, and the foul's going to be called. Looks like they're going to get your boy, Damon Robinson, who you praised. He has had a great game so far. Started the game off to NBA's point. The 6'9" forward buries a 3. Played his college ball at Kennesaw State and Murray State, 2 great basketball schools. Last time these teams played, Robinson went for 13 points and 8 rebounds against these same Lions.
Yeah, and he's got a quick 7 points, obviously, early in this game. It'll be interesting, as you know, Lions like to dominate on the inside. If you've got somebody on the opposite end of the floor able to do the same, it'll be battle of the bigs, as you said.
Keith Johnson also checking back into the game for Andreas Kapoulas. So that's instant offense right there. Backcourt pressure applied by Holloway, knocks away from Walsh. He regathers. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Beautiful pass below, and Jaden Dallaire is there to reject it. Holloway takes the bump from Evan Walsh, who got his money's worth on that foul, even though the hands are up pleading innocence. Officials right on top of it. NBA, this is the point in the game where London likes to apply the pressure, ending the quarter on a big flurry.
Yeah, you just got to be able to weather the storm, you know. You always want to finish the last 2 minutes of a quarter and the first 2 minutes as you start a new quarter on a run. So if Bristol can play smart, you know, keep this in a one-possession game, then they'll be in good shape.
Evan Walsh has to go to the bench as he picks up the foul with 33.4 seconds to play here in the first quarter. 10-minute quarters here in Super League basketball. 25-23. London make it 26-23. What a great pickup, too, Holloway has been for Coach Bosic and the Lions. You know, Jordan Taylor left, decided to retire from the league. He's back in the States doing television, and this young man steps right in, and they needed him, and he provides serious leadership and great floormanship.
Yeah, just knowing the game. You know, sometimes experience is the best thing. They have the talent, obviously, from 1 to 12 on this team. But, you know, when you've got a floor general like 2, you can kind of run things the right way, get people the right shots at the right time.
4-point lead for the London Lions, their biggest of the game so far. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Keith Johnson with the ball, swings it around to McCormick, down to the baseline. Lewis on the drive, nowhere to go. Shot clock at 3, got to get a shot up. And that's what he can do as Johnson drives in, hard off the glass, doesn't touch anything. And here we go, Holloway, he's not scared, goes right at McCormick, but pays the price. The big man gets the block. And that's how the first period will end. Lions on top, 27-23. All right, take a deep breath, NBA. That was pretty entertaining stuff to start things off.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they definitely come in running the floor. And obviously, as you can see here, both teams are shooting very, very well from the floor and from the free throw line. So be an interesting 30 minutes.
Let's take a look at these numbers as the field goal percentage 50-63 in favor of the Lions. 2 points, 64-50 in favor of the Lions. 3-point dead even there. And you look at the rebounds. London on 9-6 assists go the way of the Bristol Flyers, 2 steals apiece. So pretty even game. NBA, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like that first 6 or 7 minutes, Bristol kind of had their way with London.
Yeah, you know, it's just been a bit of a different game. Obviously, as we could tell, that Bristol was able to, you know, get in front with their 3-point shooting early, and obviously Lions have been able to pound the glass and hit the offensive glass as well, and finish inside the paint, as you can see here.
You talked about the pace of the game. It got a little bit crazy right here. Look at this exchange. Block pass, attempted 3, and then an attempted dunk, and Adebayo says, not in the box, not in the copper box tonight.
Yeah, I think, you know, both teams pride themselves on the defensive end, whether it be this season or the past 2 or 3 years. You know, both teams are one of the highest percentage defenses in the league. So, you know, it's going to be a battle, even though it is high scoring early tonight.
You talk about the pace favoring maybe the London Lions because, I don't know, because maybe they have the horses or maybe a deeper bench. But do you think that's just their style of play? They would rather just get out and run it a bit more?
I think, as they've shown, I think they're the number 1 team in the league when it comes to points per game.
Right.
So they like a high-scoring game. They know they've got the manpower to kind of back it up.
So with that being said, if you're Andreas Kapoulas and the pink-clad Bristol Flyers, would you slow things down and maybe say, okay, guys, let's burn some shot clock and hopefully the 3 points continue to fall because McCormick has 2, and your guy Devin Robinson started things off. He's got 1 as well, so the big's able to hit from outside for the Flyers.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's going to be a key point for the rest of this game. If you kind of get into a track meet with the Lions, they got a lot of bodies, you know, a lot of bodies that play at a high level and have played at a high level, so they're used to this, and they know they've got multiple guys, as we said earlier, that can score 20 points per game. In
my conversations pregame with head coach Petr Bozic of the London Lions, you don't sense panic with him. I mean, 3 games is a tough way to return home to the copper box, but a 3-game losing streak didn't seem to panic him a whole lot. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he knows what his team is capable of when he's at full strength and they've got everyone healthy and on the court.
I think that's just that comes with experience, you know, not panicking. They've had a 3-game losing streak, but they're still in first place in the league, you know, so they know they can right the ship, and they've still got time to right the ship and, you know, finish with some silverware at the end of the regular season.
All right, so we start the second quarter here in London. Holloway with a beautiful pass to Hadzibegovic. He goes up, and he's met by 2 Flyers midair, and no foul call, just knocked out of bounds. So it'll be inbounded by the Lions. 14 seconds on the shot clock. They come back with Hadzibegovic, Holloway, Kieran Sandy, Jayden Dallaire, and Adi Adebayo. Holloway gets it right back. Quick first step, kicks it over to Sandy. Dallaire moving down the baseline, left that one a little bit short, gets his own rebound. Ball knocked away by Lewis. Back in the hands of Hadzibegovic, and this time foul is called. He was looking for a foul the last time he drove to the lane and nothing was called, and this time, no foul is called. It goes out of bounds.
Clean block.
Calling that a clean block. Well, he didn't protest too much, so better angle than we had. Sandy to Adebayo. Holloway. Thought about dumping it down into Hadzibegovic, and it's just swatted back by Damon Robinson. Great defense. So the Lions come away with nothing after two set opportunities. McCormick has had the hot hand. Jayden Dallaire is right in his face. Inside to Robinson. Robinson on Hadzibegovic. Deep step down, and he slid that pivot foot. Easy call for the officials to travel.
Yeah, I think he just needs to go into his drop step. Hadzibegovic was guarding him in the middle of the paint, you know, forcing him baseline to his left hand. Maybe he's not as comfortable going that way, but I think it was so open that he would have been able to get a shot off.
Under 9 to play in the first half. 27-23, London on top. Jayden Dallaire can't get that to rattle home. Robinson with another rebound. Rafael Thomas Edwards back into the game for Coach Kapoulas. What's great about the league this year, I feel like there's a lot more parity. I mean, this is the 8th team out of 9, and they are really going toe-to-toe with the number 1 team in the league, the London Lions, as Bristol just trails this one by 4 with 8:20 to play in the first half.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you want, though, you know. Some parity in the league. You don't want anybody running away with it. And it looks like every night you're going to have a good game on your hands.
Adebayo will take a seat. They'll sub back in with Tyler Peterson as Hadzibegovic picked up the foul there on that high screen. Got his chicken wing kind of hooked around the opponent. Into the corner, and Robinson is going to pick up another one. He pulled a full Kobe there, went right through his man. Right, comes across here. Oh, there, no he didn't. He just put his hands up in the air, extended his arms, and caught Hadzibegovic across the chops.
I don't know, some good acting maybe by Hadzibegovic, knowing that DAZN has come out strong in this first quarter. Best way to get him out of the game is in foul trouble.
So Stuckman checks back into the game for the Lions. Leslie Smith back in the game for the Bristol Flyers. Stuckman left open, has a 3 lined up, can't get it off the heel. Kieran Sandy comes away with an offensive rebound. Holloway, he'll let fly, can't get it to fall. Kieran Sandy again, unfortunately rebounds it into Kendall Lewis, who plays for the Flyers. Keith Johnson, quick first step, look at that. Come on.
Great way to use his body, you know, he knows he's got 2 shot blockers in there, and he was able to, you know, maneuver his body to keep his body in between him and the basketball.
And Coach Bozic says, I've seen enough of this play. Look at this. Jaden Dallaire got him on that hip, NBA, just like you said, using that body to keep the defender away from him. Oof. Well, his first step is lightning quick, isn't it?
Yeah, change of pace is ridiculous.
27-25 is the score here in the second quarter from London. 7:33 to play as the coaches for the Lions, Coach Bozic, Polakaya, and Robert Youngblood huddle together to say, okay, what do we dial up? What's the combination that we put in there? Aaron Rye's been on the bench pretty much for the last 6 minutes, so he's available if they want to change up that dynamic.
Yeah, and I think everything that Coach Kapoulis is doing over on the Bristol side is what we spoke about at the end of that quarter. You know, they've slowed it down, only scored a couple points, and Lions is yet to score in the first two and a half minutes of this quarter.
You know, before the game, I was able to be down on the court and talk with some of the players, and Aaron Rye was one of the players. I said, you know, how you feeling, how you doing at the end of the season? You know how it is, your body's sore. I said, how are you doing? He said, I'm really tired. Because he's been playing with Obi Soko out and Brisker out. He's had to shoulder quite a bit more. He's playing close to, 33 minutes a game, every game.
Yeah, it can get like that. And then obviously when you've got such a talented team like the Lions, you know, you're forgetting you're battling in practice with these guys on a daily basis.
So a 2-point lead for the Lions as they'll look to extend things. As the fans here at the Copper Box just happy to see the Lions back here and hoping that they can cheer them on to a victory. Currently on a 3-game losing skid.
Let's go, Lions, let's go.
Stuckman on the drive. Aaron Rye back into the game. Rye's got the bigger defender on him. Stuckman, he'll pull the trigger from 3, and he'll hit.
Nice, as we said, you know, Aaron Rye saw the mismatch, drove, attacked it, decided not to force it, and was able to find the open 3-point shooter.
As a coach, how good do you feel when you draw up a player, they come out, they execute it, and it results in a 3-point to stem the momentum? As Kapoulis has gone to his bench even deeper now as he's subbed in with Pasquale Landolfi. Fadeaway can't fall. Saved and stepped out of bounds. Great job by Kendall Lewis to get that rebound, but his foot was right on the line, right in front of the official. Five-point lead, biggest lead of the game for either squad. NBA, this is we always call that the scary time. You just can't let London go on a run now. Back-to-back threes. Tyler Peterson, oh, the lane was wide open. The parting of the Red Sea, and he was on his way to glory land and right off his knee.
Yeah, you know, as you said, the parting of the Red Sea. I think he just got a little bit too excited. Shot the ball before he gathered.
He saw nothing but net, rim, and glass, nothing in front of him, and the ball careens off his leg out of bounds back to the Flyers. Alain Louis checking back into the game for Bristol. We talk about him being a great distributor, but to do that, he's got to find some open shooters, and right now it looks like London has got the message from their head coach, let's extend that defense and ramp it up just a little bit.
Yeah, you know, trying to give Bristol a little taste of their own medicine.
McCormick's had a hot hand. He's hit 2 threes, hasn't taken any shots in a while. Johnson on the inside, guarded by Dallaire. Goes across, gets the big man in the air, head pump, up and under, can't finish it. Stuckman comes away with the rebound, hands it over to Aaron Rye. Here comes Rye working his way up, and they're going to call him for the offense. Offensive foul on Aaron Rye.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
As you can see, Louis was obviously just trying to keep himself between the man and the basket. A little forearm shiver.
You never did that, did you?
Nah, never. Me? I didn't foul once my whole career.
Stop. Under 6 minutes to play here in the first half. Both of these teams have some really important games coming up left in the season. Bristol's got 5 more games. London's got 3. Jaden Dallaire takes away on the steal. Dallaire, he'll take it all the way in, flip it up, can't get it to fall, kept alive, and they're going to call a foul on the inside. It's going to stay with London. This is a shooting foul. Yeah, it'll send Jaden Dallaire to the line.
Nice steal for Jaden Dallaire. You know, it's nice to see your big guy get out in the passing lanes, you know, getting a hand up, denying, and then, as we said, multi-talented, able to put the ball on the floor and go coast to coast.
I'm telling you what, if I'm on the Bristol Flyers, I'm talking to Jaden Dallaire about the kicks he's got on his feet. That would go perfectly contrasted with the uniforms of the Bristol Flyers. Little washed out pink, white pink on the pink unis. That'd be a strong move.
A little Miami Vice.
There you go. There you go. If you know, you know, right, NBA? So Jaden Dallaire stepping to the line, gets the 2 shots, first one to fall, 67% free throw shooter. And gets them both.
As you said, yeah, this is going to be an important 5 minutes for the Flyers. You know, Lions try to, you know, always break the lead open when it goes into the end of quarters or end of half. So if they can keep this game close in the next 5 minutes, it should bode well for the second half.
And as you said at the top of the show, Key Johnson, certainly that guy. There's a steal. Quickly giving back to Tyler Peterson. And Peterson this time throws it down with 2 hands.
Reward the good defense, you know, getting out there, forcing the steal.
Look at this, active hands, off to the races.
And that might be Tyler Peterson's first dunk of the season.
And it wasn't just a one-hand version. He got all his money's worth. Rocking the new stash out there, and he throws it down. And I don't say it's a backbreaker right there, but you had the game at 5, then it goes to 7 with possession, and now quickly back up to 9.
Yeah, and that's exactly kind of what we were talking about, you know. And Coach Rapoulis obviously sees the same thing and calls a timeout to kind of settle his guys, let them know we can't let the game get away from us to finish this half. So he's just going to obviously put the right things in to be able to, you know, slow them down and get some scores on the other end.
Would you agree that it's a wise use of the timeout for Coach Kapoulis? I mean, you're not taking him into the second half, so why not stem the tide? Don't let him get the momentum. Don't let it get the copper box rocking.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing, you know, trying to break their momentum. Sometimes, you know, a timeout could just stop your flow if you're the offensive team and you're on a roll. He's hoping, obviously, that we're able to break the flow and switch, have a change of the tides and have our own run. Obviously, basketball's a game of runs. Lions have had theirs, and Bristol are looking to have theirs right now.
And obviously, the London Lions can sense a little bit of blood in the water.
Yeah, that's the one feeling you love to have, you know, where you feel like a team is about to break. And especially when you see a timeout like that, those kind of timings after a dunk, the highlight play, you know, the crowd's going crazy. you kind of feel it. You can see the other team puts their head down. So we'll see how Bristol reacts after their timeout, and hopefully Coach Kapoulis can rally his guys.
Coach Boses comes out with some full court pressure as Alain Louis waves everyone off, wants to take this one one-on-one, goes behind his back. Kieran Sandy right there with him in the lane, nothing to do with it, finds Keith Johnson. Good outlet there. He rises up, fires, and hits. And that's a bucket the Flyers desperately needed.
That's what he does. When you need a bucket, tough contested, Lions playing great defense, rising up and shooting over the defense. You know, as they say, better always beats better defense.
Peterson now with a little bit of hop in his step after that two-handed dunk moments ago. Gets it back from Rye, takes the screen off of Stuckman, gives it back to Rye. Dallaire, he'll pull the trigger from 3 range and bury it.
Yeah, he's feeling it. He's feeling it. You know, he's one of those guys that can do so many different things, but if his 3 balls can drop in, it's very hard to stop him.
You remember about 2 minutes ago, I said this is kind of be careful time, dangerous time. It is now grown to a 10-point lead for the London Lions. Beautiful pass on the inside. Deep range 3 off the glass, can't get it to fall. Taken away finally by Peterson. Tyler Peterson, outlet to Jaden Dallaire. The London Lions are running now, finding open men everywhere. Aaron Rye, hard off the back. That would have brought the roof down if he buried that.
Yeah, as we can see, you know, guys are hitting shots. Jaden Dallaire, the first guy into double digits, very, very quickly off the bench. And he's... and he's doing it on both ends of the floor, as you can see.
Jaden Dallaire shuts it down. Active hands by Aaron Rye. He keeps it alive. Beautiful pass. Kieran Sandy, and he'll lay it in. The London Lions are swarming defense on the Flyers.
And this is what we mean. You know, they want to get up and down, you know, create havoc on the defensive ends and lead to runouts, dunks, layups, open threes, and they're playing their game plan right now.
That was I thought Damon Robinson had a clean dunk going his way, and Jaden Dallaire, beautiful rotation. You got to love to see that if you're Coach Boses.
Yep, hands high, flying deflections. Exactly what you want, and guys are not settling, running out and getting some easy fast break layups.
Well, we talked moments ago about what substitutions Coach Boses might make as he gets together with his brain trust there of coaches, and they found the right combination because that backcourt with Peterson and Aaron Rye and Holloway has led to some really good things. And, of course, Jaden Dallaire, very active on the defensive end.
Yeah, we just talk about the depth of the Lions. Obviously, with 39 points, but 18 coming from the bench so far in this game. So, you know, they got a lot of guys that can do it from all over the floor. Some coming off the bench and doing the exact same thing like they were starting.
It is a 12-point lead with 3:45 to play here in London as we close in on the end of the Super League basketball season. Todd Harris alongside Matthew Bryan and Manning. Glad to have you with us here as London trying to get up a 3-game losing streak. Bristol, they've had mixed results in the last 5. They've won 2 of the last 5, have losses to Manchester, Sheffield, and Surrey. Surrey's been playing some good ball as of late.
Yeah, Surrey right now is, you know, I think getting to the cup finals was big for them and their organization. They want to be a team that's known to be a playoff team year in and year out, and they're obviously trending upwards. You know, they want to have a great end to this season and for it to carry on in the future.
If you were still playing in the league, what is the one team right now that you would not want to play? That they've got momentum at the right time. Robinson with a 3, can't get that to fall right with the rebound.
It'll be interesting. I think there's a few teams that are flowing at the right time. Right now, I think with the new head coach up at Manchester,
good point.
A former assistant coach of mine when I played in Argentina. So I knew what he brought to the table when he got signed by Manchester.
Holloway somehow finds a way to go glass and get 2 more. Don't forget the Leicester Riders. Coach Rob doing a great job as well. He's got that team believing.
For sure. I think that's always going to be a thing in the league. You know, Leicester Riders believing.
Oh, Peterson thought about going behind his back to Stuckman, but then took it back and a little hard off the glass after that steal, and he knows exactly when he comes back a foul here on Alain Louis.
Yeah, I think a smart foul just stopped the open shot. They had a 3-point shooter on the wing that he was passing to, and trying to stop the ball, stop the foul, to stop the play, because he definitely knocked down that 3 after the whistle.
So Keith Johnson will trigger for the Bristol Flyers, who need a bucket a big-time way. Adi Adebayo back in for London. That ball losing the handle for Kendall Lewis. Gets it back to Walsh. Evan Walsh might be the guy as he goes toe-to-toe with Aaron Ryan, gets the better off the glass.
Nice aggressive move by the young Brit. Coming out and being aggressive. Loves to score the ball, but loves to get downhill and finish in the paint.
Evan Walsh is a great story. He's played with Surrey, he's played with Leicester, he's played with Manchester, and now he's found a home here in Bristol.
And this is really the first time he's really able to kind of settle in and get some good minutes.
Peterson wasn't sure he wanted to pull that trigger. He did. It's a little hard off the iron, and it's taken away by the Flyers. Walsh to Johnson, quickly back to Louis. Skip pass, Walsh driving the lane again, finds traffic. Has a man open in the corner, can't get it to fall, no one there but Holloway, and he'll take it on the bounce. Good matchup here. Johnson on Holloway. Holloway spinning, looking, firing and hitting.
Tough move, tough move.
And that was well defended.
Yeah, brought everything out of his bag for that one.
90 seconds to play in the first half, 43-29 London. 7-0 run that led the way, and that has nothing but London air on it, as Robinson, who hit the first bucket of the game, a 3, can't get that 5-footer to drop. Stuckman draws in the defense, gives it back to Rye. He drives baseline, kicks it in, knocked away, gets it back. Peterson now, shot clock at 4. Oh, Peterson in desperation tries to get it back in the middle, and the ball is knocked away. Looks like we're going to get a foul. Kendall Lewis was on the defensive end, and they're going to get Aaron Ryan on the slap. So Kendall Lewis kind of got bailed out there as he was going to the deck.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to give it up. He saw 2 men on him. The ball ended up back in his hands anyway, but, you know, bailed out. Hopefully, Bristol can use this right now to get a good offense out of it. You know, they're down 14 right now and trying to close the gap before the end of the half with minutes to go.
2 for 1 as the shot clock is now at 15 with 51 seconds on the game clock. Johnson tied up. Adebayo doing his thing. Inside, 10-footer. Bounces off the rim, can't get it to fall. It's Kendall Lewis. Aaron Rye cleans it up. Here comes Peterson. Doesn't have the numbers, but he's going to drive the lane anyways. Goes to his left and lays it in.
And that's perfect timing for a 2 for 1, as you said before, for the Lions. It ended up being getting the bucket at 35 seconds. A full shot clock will give him about 10 seconds to go.
So Bristol's got to make sure this one counts. Down by 16 points. Just 4 minutes ago, they were down by 5. And the Lions have blown it open. And it's Alain Louis who is fouled by Jaden Dallaire, who did not like that call. And Adi Adebayo quickly stepped in front of him and said, let's not adjudicate that right here now. I don't want you getting teed up, big man.
Yeah, you know, he's just picked up his second personal foul. Adi Adebayo being smart, pulling him away, making sure he doesn't get a tech, picking up his third on the same play.
You were a peacekeeper in your day, right?
Always, always. You know, they couldn't resist a smile, you know? It always calms somebody down.
NBA just killed them with kindness. So we've got a 12.8 second on the clock. Game clock is off. 45-29 is the lead for the London Lions. All right, draw me something up here. What are you doing?
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting right now. They'll get the ball after the foul shots, full court. I think they'll just ISO it, get a top pick and roll with probably about 8 seconds as they cross over the half, and just make sure they get the last shot. They don't want to do anything. They're up 16 right now, potentially up 14 if they make 2 free throws, Bristol, and they'll just want to, you know, finish the half strong.
We'll see what they draw. Both coaches, Ovi Soko, Michael Brisker, there on the right-hand side of your screen. They are injured. Talking with Ovi earlier today, just a rolled ankle, and a bad time for him, but pretty confident he'll be back by the playoffs. Brisker, similar situation, and that will be a huge addition. You get them back. I mean, you never want them off the court, but if they can get a week off and London can win games, that's going to really pay wonders for them once they get in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that's 2 great additions joining your team, your captain and your second leading scorer. So guys that are going to come in and be an immediate impact. Hopefully, obviously, they're able to win games while they're out, because obviously, as we said, you know, there's 3 games left, twice against Sheffield, both away, and then 1 at home game against Leicester, which is going to be all games that decide what happens if you get some silverware at the end of this regular season.
You talk about the impact that additions have been this year, and for London, you've got to look immediately to obviously Aaron Wright coming over from Cheshire, but the addition of Tyler Peterson and Tu Holloway, as well as Hadzibegovic, has really transformed this team after losing so much talent from the league winners last year, and they get this squad. So Bristol gets the ball back now with 10 seconds left. Walsh driving on the right-hand side, looking for something. Gets it out. Shot clock now at 4, and they're going to call a foul. They're going to get Peterson on the reach-in, as Elaine Louis had it. So missed the foul shot, but it's going to send him right back to the line. So this changes for what London can do, obviously with 3.5 seconds left. But more importantly, Elaine Louis got to bury these.
Yeah, obviously missed the last 2. So he's got to concentrate and make sure he makes these as he misses the first.
Just a 44% free throw shooter, so his struggles from the line continue.
Yeah, and this might be something later on down the line or later on in the game, if it does get close, that line's can use to their advantage.
Hits the second, so he cuts it to a 15-point lead. And they're going to substitute in Corey Samuels, and you're going to take Elaine Louis out. 3.5 seconds is plenty of time to get a decent look off.
Especially when you see Aaron Wright at half court with nobody guarding him right now.
No one guarding him. Evan Walsh is talking to Kendall Lewis saying, who wants the 21? Well, they got 6 players. Oh, here to sub out. Okay, Leslie Smith's going to step off the court. They had 6 players on there. Leslie Smith steps off. Here we go, 3.5 seconds. 15-point lead. Holloway's got to hurry, and not going to get it off. Well, after 1 period, it was a 4-point London lead. As we've reached the half here at the Copper Box in London, it has ballooned to a 15-point lead as London tries to end a 3-game losing streak. 15 points is the lead. London on top, 45-30 here in the Copper Box. Let's take a look at the numbers, NBA, and Del's going to tell a big story. Of course, we're going to start right off where you made your bread and butter, the rebounds. Look at that, 21-13 in favor of the Lions.
Yeah, as you can see, they've dominated on the glass in that second quarter, and they was able to obviously blow open the lead. And it helps, obviously, shooting a great percentage from the floor, 53% versus 39%. These kind of things are kind of what the Lions do to kind of break it open.
Their defense certainly leads to offense, and that second quarter was no question about it. They came out firing from the start of the second quarter, but Bristol tried to maintain pace with them, only down by 4 points, NBA, after the first quarter. And then it was shots like this coming from Kieran Sandy and Adi Adebayo.
Yeah, you know, they was able to put the pressure on the defensive end, I think, and able to get a lot of easy shots. They were able to get steals that led out to fast breaks, dunks and layups, and you know they were able to finish in this second quarter.
Who plays for the Flyers? Jaden Dallaire got into the act, but it was all about the defense leading to offense. Staying with it, Key Johnson did what he could, but Johnson just has not been as hot as we've seen in past games. Remember, last time these teams played, Key Johnson went off for 18 points, and right now he is sitting on just 4 points. So London doing a great job defensively on the #1 score. And, of course, that two-hand throwdown by Tyler Peterson was a big showing.
Yeah, you know, it's been a very, very interesting game. They're going to obviously be able to battle back in the second half for excuse me, sorry. They were able to battle back in the second half if they come out and be very aggressive. You know, we've got guys like Evan Walsh and Katie Johnson that have played well early, but, you know, they're going to want to keep it up and battle back for the second half.
All right, so we've got a second half coming up for you after this break. Once again, it is London on top, 45-30. At the halftime, we've got a nice feature on the Bristol Flyer, Evan Walsh, plus the look back at the rematch between London and Bristol, which took place on April 1st. And, of course, we've got plays of the week. All that coming up at the half. We'll see you for the second half action from the Copper Box.
rises, where champions emerge and redefine the game, where limits are tested and greatness is unleashed. This is when legends are born. Super League Basketball. A new dawn is here.
I always want to play at the top of my game. I always want to feel like I'm reaching my full potential. So to be able to have a good run of games recently, it feels great. Important for our team. Like I sort of said on the weekend, I feel like I'm the main part of the team this year, and I really want to win. So obviously to put good performances together and to get wins is the most important thing. To feel like I am performing at the level I need to perform at, and to come up against this elite talent and to really sharpen my tools whilst I'm here is a great opportunity for me. About 13 years old was the first time I picked up a basketball for real. To be in this position now and looking back on that scenario when I was so young and starting the game, I mean, what an opportunity and something to be really excited about. It's a huge honour to be able to represent the country and to represent my family, to sort of be on the floor with all this elite talent, some guys that I've grown up playing in the junior program with, and some older faces, some veteran guys that will share their wisdom with me as I grow through this program. To have an opportunity to play professional basketball at home is a special one. To be able to play at home, to have friends and family come to games like a lot of the time, it means a lot. Being away for college was a great time, but 4 years away out of the country, everybody knows playing competitive basketball for a living brings on its own challenges off the court. So being able to have that opportunity at home has been excellent for me. It's definitely given me a stepping stone to be able to continue to progress my career here, and it's a credit to the league that year in, year out, every time I've been in the league, I feel like the standard has been better, going up against high-level players, which has obviously elevated my game. And a credit to the league that we've been able to produce in this country now, where guys that are playing in this league, domestic guys, have an opportunity at the national team because of the level week in, week out. So yeah, it's been good.
Whoa, she's left wide open for three and drains it. And Flyers with their first made three of the game. Samuels swings to McCormack, winds up for three, and McCormack drains it. And he's a guy who needs no invitation to shoot from downtown. Walsh going downhill, out to Louis. Here's McCormack, fakes the three, puts it on the floor. Good ball movement from the Flyers, and it results in a Kendall Lewis three.
Yeah, that good ball movement and pass, skip to the corner. Good play from McCormack.
Peterson swings to Brisker, catch and shoot, splashes it. And right on cue there, Gareth. Brisker knocks down his first points of the game. Past the midway point now of this second quarter. Johnson swings to Smith. Extra pass to Landolfi. He fires up for three. And again, Pasquale Landolfi knocks it down. A pair of back-to-back threes for him.
He's got a big smile on his face as well.
Right. Out to Holloway. Guarded by Louis. Screen from Hadzabegovic. Looking inside. Nice pass. And Hadzabegovic finishes the tip-in. Tough fadeaway jumper. Robinson with the teardrop finish off the front rim and in.
That is a tough move from Robinson.
5 seconds to go. Brisker pulls up from top of the key, splashes it. And it was a perfect start to the third quarter for London. It's a perfect end to the third quarter for London as well. Now with Brisker. Brisker back out to Stuckman for 3, splashes it. And Tanner Stuckman, a much-needed 3 for the London Lions. Thomas Edwards backing down to Lair, kicks it back to Johnson. Johnson deep 3-ball, drains it. It's Keedy time, and it's a 1-point game with 3.5 minutes to go. Back to Dallaire, going to work on Kendall Lewis. Nice pass inside to Hadzebegovic. And Coach Kapoulas looks to the table to call a timeout because London Lions have matched their biggest lead of the game at 6 points. Johnson's layup no good. It's a 3-on-1 opportunity for London Lions, and it results in a two-handed jam. Well, that will do it here at the SGS College Arena. London Lions pull off an incredible fourth quarter comeback with their 12th straight win in the SLB Championship to solidify their place at the top of the standings with just 7 games to go. Final score, Bristol Flyers 78, the London Lions 88.
Tahori finds the lane, it's blocked by Hadzebegovic. Wow, good timing. And at the other end, Hadzebegovic with the finish.
Outstanding work from the big fella, from defense to offense, running the floor. Wonderful job from him.
Viscus goes up against Fraser Malcolm as Spielman comes across.
He goes with that big volleyball spike there, and Spielman was just licking his lips, waiting for this one.
Kayo attacking James, flips it down to Del Pesh, who hammers it home.
Hadzebegovic calling for it, collects. Too strong, gets his own rebound, blocked by Adelican. Huge rejection from Dame Adelican, and Gooden at the other end. What a start from Surrey.
I tell you what a start. Humongous block denied at the ring by Adelican. Wow.
Ray. From the foul line is short, gets his own rebound. And a bit of English and gets it to go.
Wow. Oh, whirling dervish there. Take me to the circus, John.
Lanutis for 3. Back line, long rebound. Jackson pumps it forward to Shelton, who will reverse jam it.
Put a little bit of extra sauce on that one.
Stolen away, runs it back. Behind the back to Wright, who jams it in.
What a great decision from Hunter. Larry Austin Jr. chasing him down, goes behind the back, and those are good minutes now.
Needs a foul, need a foul.
Oh, it's a steal instead, even better. And what a monster jam! What a monster jam from Rees. It's not quite done yet. It's got to Groves. Oh, he thought he was going to shoot it. He didn't. McGill does shoot it. McGill. Oh, what a job from Ricky McGill. This is an unbelievable game. Ricky McGill ties the scores at 87. Everyone on their feet. Ashton Langford still has it. Kayo goes to the basket, puts it up, puts it in with 1.4 remaining. Huge finish.
Oh, Nicholson is right in his face. He gets slapped in the face. Man, he's had an outstanding game.
Back inside the copper box here in London alongside Matthew Bryan and Manny, and I am Todd Harris. 45-30 is the score. London Lions using a second quarter blow to just get this thing out in the open. 27-23 was the score after one, and then the London Lions going on a 7-0 run to push that lead up to 15. Lions are led by a man off the bench. Normally his starter, Jaden Dallaire, came off the bench in NBA. He gave them a big shot in the arm.
Yeah, you know, he's just out there playing his game. So versatile, does a little bit of everything. You can see here him battling and doing work on the inside. And then a couple plays later, you know, he's out there diming and finishing at the three-point line. You know, he does so much for this team. He's able to be as versatile as he is for them.
6'9" forward with dual citizenship, played his college ball at Stanford. And when you're getting guys that come off the bench like Petar Bozic is able to do and contribute like this, the two leading scorers for the London Lions, Tu Holloway with 11, as well as Jaden Dallaire. Holloway really a difference maker, pushing the pace.
Yeah, you know, he's a guy that gives you a different look when it comes to scoring from the point guard position. You know, he's a bit of a different player and more abundant scorer than Tyler Peterson, so he's able to come in, man the team. He's finished at all different types of ways, you know, off the bounce, at the rim, three-point shot. He's able to do a little bit of everything, and here he just simply breaks down his man in the ISO, lets him know he's a big guard, and still finishes on the block.
Well, the Bristol Flyers got out to a good start. The first bucket of the game came from that man, Damon Robinson. Robinson, 7 points right now, but he's been quiet after that first big three. But the big man, they're going to need him in the second half to counter what London's doing inside the paint.
Yeah, you know, he's obviously their leading scorer and came in aggressive. You know, he had that three-pointer, he had a dunk early, as you can see here. But, you know, he's been a bit quiet after that first quarter. So, you know, we're going to need him to step up, and Bristol are going to need him to step up in the second half.
We'll see how the Bristol Flyers respond here as the second half gets underway inside the Copper Box. Remember, we are just down to the final 2 weeks of action as Bristol currently sitting in 8th position there safely in the playoffs for the time being. But NBA, you and I were talking this pre-tip, and Caledonia could get hot, and Bristol's got to be careful not to give away too many games coming down the stretch.
Yeah, you know, this is the most important part of the season. Caledonia have actually won a couple games in the last few weeks, and they're obviously going to come out and try and finish the season the right way. And if Bristol end up slipping up and losing a few games, you know, Caledonia could sneak them right at the last weekend of the season.
Caledonia currently sitting on a record of 7-21 with 14 points. Bristol is 10-16 on 20 points. So we'll see what happens there as we get ourselves underway here in the Copper Box for half number 2. Similar starting lineups for both squads. Keith Johnson's going to have to play a big part for head coach Andreas Kapoulas. He goes right in the lane, gets stuck in the air, can't do anything with it, he gets taken away. And ball taken right back as Aaron Rye goes to the ground, tries to give it to Peterson, and Peterson cannot save it before stepping out of bounds. So some good hustle on the other end and some great disruptive defense coming from Kendall Lewis, who will start the second half for the Flyers. So Bristol. Robinson with the ball, gives it up to Louis. Canadian goes back inside. Oh, beautiful feed and a nice dunk coming from Robinson. So he starts the first half NBA with a 3, starts the second half with a dunk.
Yeah, exactly what Bristol needed right now. You know, trying to come in and assert themselves in the paint and, you know, finishing around the rim. You're able to get an 8-second call, first play, and then come back and get a dunk.
Ozzy Begovic takes a hard bump as he was double teamed, but can't get the easy layup to fall. So a stop for the Flyers. Shot clock at 10, still plenty of time. Keith Johnson with the ball. Back into the corner. 3 on its way, count it. Kendall Lewis, so a 5-0 run to start the second half, and it's down to a 10-point lead for the Lions.
And I don't think Bristol could have written it up any better. You know, Coach Andreas Kapoulas would be very, very happy with this start, especially with how things ended in the second quarter.
Stuckman fires up a 3, can't get it, so back-to-back stops, and now an opportunity to shut it into single digits for the Bristol Flyers. They are coming out with some serious intensity here. Got to wonder how long Coach Bozic lets this go on before he stops things and says, all right, fellas, we're out of the locker room now. It's time to play. Louis directing traffic. Peterson backing off on the D. He drives, goes to his left hand, floats it up, can't get it to fall. Aaron Wright comes away with it. Adebayo puts Robinson on the floor as he stepped on a wet spot. And this time Stuckman goes up, and he's going to get the foul called on Rafael Thomas Edwards.
That's a tough call right there.
Yeah.
I think Rafael Thomas Edwards held his ground, stayed in his cylinder. With Stuckman's move, his elbows came across where his hands already were, as you can see right here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's much of a foul right there. Personally, with the amount of physicality that's been going on in this game with all these bigs out here, I feel like they've got robbed on that play.
I feel like they've let him play a lot more physical in the first half, and I wonder if this is a situation where the officials know this game could get tight, and they don't want it to get, I don't say out of control, but they don't want it to boil over. Stuckman misses the front end. Stuckman usually a decent free throw shooter at 60%. That one had no chance. Gets the second.
Just off his form and knowing that he's such a great three-point shooter, I'm surprised that he only shoots 60% from the free throw line.
So is that a case of London's defense has just been running him off the line, or is this a case of Coach Kapoulas is saying, you know, we're going to get our points inside the arc?
I think it's just being smart about it. You know, they're going to have a game plan. Coach Kapoulas knows, like, the majority. They have a couple good three-point shooters, don't get me wrong, but you know, their bread and butter is guys like DeMar Robinson finishing in the paint, Keedy Johnson getting downhill and finishing at the cup.
Yeah. Keedy Johnson has that ball knocked away, and not thrilled about that. Still only on 4 points for a young man that averages almost 18 points a game. They've got to get him feeling it somehow in this second half. Peterson directing traffic now for the offense. Drives the lane, feeds it to the corner. Adebayo's there, gives it up to Aaron Wright. Wright will drive the line. He'll lay it up hard. Doesn't get the ball to drop, but he will get 2 shots.
Great drive there by Aaron Wright, you know, reading the offense, seeing where the ball's going to be and knowing the driving lane would be to his left. I think he's a bit frustrated with himself, feeling that he should have finished that one as it was his right hand and he was right there at the rim.
And he had a look on his face like he was anticipating the contact. He knew it was coming.
Definitely. I think that's exactly what you expect when you're driving that hard and trying to finish right at the rim.
73% free throw shooter Aaron Wright steps up, the 6'6" forward out of Ontario, Canada. Talked to him before the game. Talked about how tired he was playing some heavy minutes. I said, what are your summer plans? He said, I'm going back to Canada. I'm going to get some rest and relaxation, but right now he wants to win a title. Good defense on the inside. Hadzibegovic can't get another foul, and a good drive by Rafael Thomas Edwards.
I think that's just a smart play, you know, knowing the guy's would be potentially in foul trouble if he does foul you, so, you know, attacking him and knowing that he can't foul you.
Ball knocked away. Quick hands now by the Bristol Flyers, and they get another steal. Inside. Clearing out the space, and I think they're going to get Hadzibegovic as he got him up in the air. Great job by Kendall Lewis being patient there as he was being double-teamed.
And they know, obviously, that the Lions have shot blockers out there, especially Hadzibegovic, and he's already got 2 fouls, picking up his 3rd foul early in this 3rd quarter. Bodes well for Bristol.
48-37. 15-point lead at the halves. Now been cut down to 11 as Kendall Lewis will try to make it 10 if he can get the second of 2 to fall. And he gets it. 6:34 to play here in the 3rd quarter. 10-minute quarters here in Super League basketball. Substitution coming for the Flyers in the form of O. McCormick, the 6'9" forward. Local product, able to hit 2 threes when he came in last time. This time I think the London Lions will be aware of him lurking out there on the arc. Inside to Jaden Dallaire. McCormick on him, doesn't give up any ground, and Jaden Dallaire, I think, thought he was a little bit closer to the rim. Let that one well short. And they're going to call a travel that time as Alain Louis kind of got stuck in the air, but he got deep into the paint. I think he recognized NBA that he had 3 black shirts around him and nowhere to go with it.
Yeah, trying to kick it out, find his man. And as we said at the top of the show, you know, he's a facilitator.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to always look for the open guy and trying to get his teammates involved.
Speaking of facilitating, Tyler Peterson has done a fantastic job for the London Lions. We saw what he can do when he elevates with the ball, but he's just a good stabilizing force for this team. Then you bring in a guy like Holloway. His 3-point attempts off the mark. Holloway, I feel like, is kind of one of those players. If you need him to play a true point, he can do it. But if you need him to play a shooting guard, he's happy to do that as well, with Michael Brisker not available.
Yeah, you know, he's a guy that's always been a scorer throughout his career. So being able to put up big numbers, even though this season he hasn't averaged the biggest numbers that he has earlier on in his career. But, you know, a guy like Holloway that can right now average 10 points for you, but can on any given night give you 20.
Nice pass on the inside, had Key, probably should have taken it, but he saw Jaden Allaire was right there on the defense. So the mismatch there goes the way of Kendall Lewis, and he takes advantage of it and gets the bucket.
And I think that right there is the mental game right there for Bristol. You know, being able to cut it to 8 points, single digits. You know, you feel like you're slowly chipping away at it. When the game stays at 10 points, you feel like you're doing a lot of work, even though they did have the first 5 points of the second half. But, you know, when you still see it's a double-figure lead, it's sometimes tough. But, you know, cutting it down to single digits is a big one.
That's a huge accomplishment for the Bristol Flyers. And now Petar Bosic, ball is in his court. He's got to figure out a way to stop or change the momentum in the way of his team, which is currently on a 3-game losing streak, and they don't want to go 4 games on a lose here at their home court. Now, meanwhile, for the Bristol Flyers, NBA, they did it patiently. They did it with great defense, active hands. They were down by 15 less than 5 minutes ago. Now they've only trailed by 8.
Yeah, you know, you just got to chip away at it. There's no 15-point plays in basketball, so you can do it possession by possession, get stops and then get a bucket, get stops and then get a bucket. So they're able to do that. I think that's what Coach Andros Kopoulas is going to be harping on them. You know, don't try and make any home run plays and just chip away at it possession by possession.
I think you talked about it earlier in the game, Matthew. You were saying how London would prefer this to be more of a track meet up and going, and I've noticed over the last 4 or 5 minutes, this has been more half-court set offense.
Yep, they slowed it down, slowed the pace down. A team that, you know, wants to score in the high 80s, close to 90 points a game in the Lions. If you slow them down and there's less possessions, they're not able to do so.
Aaron Rye takes a seat. They'll go with Stuckman, Dallaire, Holloway. Oh, no, excuse me. Aaron Rye is going to stay on the court. And Peterson has a little backcourt defensive pressure coming the way of the Flyers. Active hands.
8-second call.
And they're going to call the 8-second call. Did not get it across the timeline in time. 10 seconds in the NBA, 8 seconds in Super League basketball. I kind of like that. I think 10 seconds is too long. 8 seconds feels about right.
It's 10 seconds in the league?
10 seconds in the NBA.
I thought it was 10 in college.
10 in college. 10 in the NBA. You think it's 8?
I think it's 8.
Okay. You know, it won't be the first time I'm wrong. I promise you that. Had to get that shot off. Did McCormick as the shot clock was winding down. Lucky to catch some rim there, and there's going to be a foul here on Key Johnson. No, they're going to get Stuckman. Tanner Stuckman gets called for the foul on Key Johnson. So another stop for the Flyers. 48-40, under 5 minutes to play. One thing I am certain of, it is a 10-minute quarter in Super League basketball. You got to check me on that. Oh, that's why he's the best analyst man in the business. I stand corrected. It is 8 seconds in the NBA as well as Super League basketball. It is 10 seconds in college. Thank you for checking that. How about this call right here? Oof.
It's a lot of body in that one, but interesting. They called a charge down the other end, offense down the other end, and then a block down this end. So, you know, Bristol will be happy. Let's say that much.
And for those fans that think that wasn't a foul, Alain Louis gets a little instant karma and misses the first of 2. It's the second. So now it's a 7-point lead. That as much I am sure of with a 4:42 to play in the third quarter. This is setting up to be a great fourth quarter as Bristol's going to come out extremely aggressive. Too handsy there, and they're going to say no. I think, oh yes, it is. It is a foul. Oh, McCormick was celebrating.
I think he was out of bounds.
He was out of bounds.
Out of bounds. So I think both players had their hands on the ball, but one player was out of bounds.
I thought they had another turnover.
But you can see the defensive level is picked up big time for the Bristol Flyers.
4 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the third. Peterson, no look into Dallaire from the free throw line. Leaves that one short. McCormick comes away with a rebound. Another stop for the pink-clad Bristol Flyers.
And this is exactly what we were talking about when we were talking about the mental game. Obviously, we were talking about for Bristol, but as you can see right now, it could be the vice versa for the Lions. You know, they were on a 3-game losing skid, and things are going well, but then when things go bad, you could kind of creep into the back of your mind.
Wow.
That, you know, that thing's going to carry on going how they have been lately.
How about Owen McCormick spinning hard right, then going to his left with a baby hook, gets it to fall. We've got ourselves a 5-point ball game. It hasn't been this close since the first half as Jaden Dallaire is fouled going up. And they're going to give it to Alain Louis. He was trying to give it over to Rafael Thomas Edwards, and the officials weren't buying it. Substitution, this gives us an opportunity to shine the spotlight on our halftime feature on Evan Walsh, the 6'3" forward product of England. Congratulations to him, NBA. How about that? 1,000 points. Not tonight, that would be a record, but in his career, that's impressive.
Yeah, you know, it's good to see these guys coming in, playing year after year and hitting milestones. So congratulations to Evan hitting his 1,000th point in the first half tonight.
Played his college ball on one of the most beautiful campuses you'll find in Florida around the Miami area, Barry University, but also traveled around the league. He's been with Surrey, he's been with Leicester, he's been with Manchester, and he's found a home here in Bristol. So congratulations to Evan Walsh on that accomplishment in the first half, getting that 1,000th point. So here we go. Business at hand. 7-point lead coming up on 3.5 to play in the third. Walsh going right at Stuckman, and he's going to get Stuckman on the bump. Coach Bosich is still talking to the officials about something that happened on the last possession.
I think he's just trying to get some clarity on the defense right now. The game's got a lot more physical, and they're blowing the whistle a lot more in the second half, so trying to see what they can and can't get away with.
Evan Walsh kicks back out, three-pointer on the way, nothing but iron for there for Kendall Lewis. Gets his own rebound, up and in, and they're going to call the block on Jaden Dallaire, so it's going to be an and-one situation.
Again, Bristol just chipping away at it, you know. Misses shots, but now crashing the offensive glass, and obviously this one came straight back to him, where he's able to gather, go up, and finish through the contact.
You like that call?
Great call by the ref. I think Dallaire slid underneath him as he was already in the air because he knew he wasn't going to be able to get the block, but Kendall Lewis was able to, you know, get the shot off quickly and finish.
Kendall Lewis can't finish the three-point play, but it is a 5-point lead as Bristol has really upped the ante on their defense here as we approach 3 minutes to play here in the third. Aaron Wright takes the screen, takes the bump, slides in, goes to his right hand, can't get it to fall. Rebound taken away by Owen McCormick. Back come the Flyers. An opportunity now to cut it to 3 or 4 if they can get this bucket.
Yeah, mismatch on the post as well.
McCormick, Peterson doing a great job of giving him the business.
Very physical.
Yeah, and they're going to get him this time on the bump. So now an opportunity, and do my math correctly, to cut it down to a 3-point or 2-point game if the Flyers can come away with a bucket.
No, I think he's going to the foul line, so they have 2 foul shots. With the Lions in the bonus right now.
Yeah, good catch. Got to come away with something, though. 4-point lead.
And McCormick being a 91% foul shooter, you know.
Not the guy you want to send to the line. He buries both of them, nothing but net.
Yep.
We've got ourselves a 3-point ball game. It has not been this close since the first quarter in the game. It's 50-47. London on top. Bristol extending that defense, and it's going to be a 3-point turnaround as Tyler Peterson goes right to the rack and one.
Exactly what the Lions needed, you know, somebody to kind of cut the momentum, and especially being able to finish and get a foul too. Is exactly what Coach Bozich would want from their lead point guard.
Substitutions coming for Coach Kapoulas as he brings in seldom used Abuka Ekwe, 6'4" forward out of England, part of the Bristol Academy, as he's on the floor now, as well as Damon Robinson. He'll probably finish up this final 2.5 minutes and give some of the other players a chance to catch their breath, because it's going to be all on the fourth. Walsh into Lewis, back to Walsh. Takes the screen, hits the brakes. Back inside to Lewis, mismatch there. Holloway just takes it away, forget the mismatch. And no foul called as Walsh held his ground. Holloway lost the handle, and he goes into the expensive seats on the baseline. Usually we're NBA City.
Great steal here by Holloway. A lot of contact again. It's just tough to see what the refs are going to call and what they're not going to call right now.
And as a player, that's got to make you a little nervy. I mean, just, am I going to get away with this, or are they going to call this tight? McCormick back to Walsh. Walsh lines up a three. Can't get it to fall. Stuckman comes away with the rebound for the Lions. So Ekwe picks up a foul in the back court, which, as far as fouls go in the last 10 minutes, that might have been the softest of the fouls we've seen, and that's going to send Stuckman to the line. The good news is, for the Bristol Flyers, is Stuckman does not, well, this is not his favorite spot to be, a 60% free throw shooter. And that could be the reverse announcer jinx coming. As I intended.
Prior to this, he was 3 for 6 from the foul line, so, you know, if we go by the numbers, make one, miss one.
Yep. Oh, he'll show you, and you're right. Make one, miss one. 50% from him. So here we go. Coming up on the final 2 minutes of play here in the third. 54-47, London on top. Newly subbed in player Ekwe can't get it to fall. Tough defense there from Stuckman. Peterson now looking for someone to pass it off to, and they're going to call an offensive foul. That was a bit of a delay, and they called the offensive foul on Tyler Peterson.
Yeah, interesting call here. I think they say Keely Johnson had his hands up, beat him to the spot, and took the hit on the chest. There wasn't an extension of the arm or forearm from Tyler Peterson, but I think he just took the contact on the chest and went down.
Well, this was moving along as one of the quickest quarters we've had in a while, and now we've had multiple penalties, fouls called back to back to back, and that has slowed the process down, and we're 98 seconds away. It is one more time. Yeah, it's a tough job. That gets Peterson to the bench. And that pass just a little too hot, trying to get into Robinson from McCormick.
Yeah, and I think Coach Kapoulas is just trying to get his guys to settle down. You know, they've had a great third quarter so far, holding the Lions to just 9 points, scoring 17 themselves. So if they can finish up this last 1 minute 20, it should be a great third and setting us up for a great fourth quarter.
Tyler Peterson goes to the floor, goes to the bench, I should say, with 4 fouls, and Holloway picks up the pace. He puts in a nice bucket there. Beautiful finish. 1 minute to play in the third. Walsh, head fake, drives, uses the body, goes up a little too hard off the glass, gets his own rebound, even harder on the second attempt, knocked away. And it's going to London's ball. 2 point-blank opportunities for the Flyers. Come away with nothing.
Yeah, and you can see Evan Walsh saying he got hit in the back of the head on at least one of those attempts, but the referee's not deeming it enough contact to warrant a foul call.
Holloway gives it up to Rye. Wright takes some heavy contact, ball knocked away, and it ends up in the hands of McCormick, but not before a foul is called, and now the Flyers are getting frustrated. Evan Walsh pleading his case to the officials.
Yeah, it looked like Aaron Wright lost the handle on the way to the cup, and Walsh was just trying to keep his hands up.
As a defender, you got to hate that because you feel like he just got bailed out, right?
And especially once Evan feels like he got fouled on the other end.
Right.
You know, you don't get the call down one end, and then you feel like you've done everything right defensively on this end, and they still get the foul call.
And you send one of the best free throw shooters, or one of their better free throw shooters, on the Lions, Aaron Wright at line, shooting about 73% from the free throw line. Hits them both.
And it's been a quiet game for Aaron Wright tonight, you know. So you don't want to have any baskets for him seeing the ball go through the hoop. Only making free throws so far tonight and no field goals.
Alain Louis back into the game. Walsh has it poked away momentarily, regathers, drives the lane, Euro steps across, and they're going to give it to him with a block and the and one as Kieran Sandy is down hard on the deck.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I know his face was in there as Evan did the Euro over the top.
Oh, yeah.
Got caught with the elbow. I know he's going to be frustrated when he gets up, knowing that the foul's been called on him after receiving the elbow to the face.
Took a hard right elbow, unintentional, from Evan Walsh as he brought the ball over the top, and Euro stepped his way to the bucket and the and one. So Walsh, a 76% free throw shooter, needs this one to make it an 8-point lead with 25.2 seconds to play. Gets it. Shot clock and game clock are almost exactly the same. Maybe a half-second differential.
Yeah, and this full court pressure has also slowed the Lions down this quarter, and I think it's something that Bristol are going to use in the fourth quarter also to keep it a half-court game.
4 seconds. Holloway gives it up to Hadzibegovic. He goes off the glass, can't get it to fall. Bristol has it. He's going to have to get it off quickly, and not enough time to get off a quality shot. As Abuka Ekwe does hit the shot, but it's after the red lights came on. So that ends period number 3, and it is an 8-point lead for the London Lions, 58-50. But they did exactly what they had to do, NBA. They chipped away. Remember, they were down by 15 at the half. Now they trail it by 8.
Yeah, smart play by Bristol, and as you can see, they're evening out the field goal percentage and trying to catch up on the rebounds right now.
Look at those assists, dead even, 7 steals to 5 in favor of the London Lions. Shooting percentage, as you mentioned as well, has come down as well. Lions not as hot as they were in that first half. 46% now for the game to 42. And not a big three-point night tonight. Both teams, 3 for London, 4 for Bristol. And kind of surprised me in Bristol because that's a team that they can live and die behind that line.
Yeah, just one of those nights. Sometimes, you're on the road, you're not able to knock down shots, and then obviously with the Lions, you got a guy like Mike Brisker who can run off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row for the Lions. So not surprising that they're not having as great a night as they usually do.
Look at the London Lions schedule still to come. They travel on the 18th to Sheffield. Then next week, Wednesday night, they are back here at the friendly confines of the Copper Box. They'll face off with the Leicester Riders. Now, that will be quite a game. Depending on what happens up in Sheffield, Leicester's going to have themselves in just position. And Coach Rob's going to be preaching, let's win the regular season title to his fellows.
Yeah, that's definitely something that Coach Paternostra lives and dies by. His teams are usually a model of consistency, and winning the league is one of their favorite things to do, just to show that they've been consistent all year round. And it's a tough last 3 games for the Lions. Sheffield, Leicester, then Sheffield again to finish the season. So it's very, very important that they finish this game very well if we're looking at the end of the year results.
And in contrast, you look at the Bristol Flyers, they have 5 more games, but they don't play anyone higher than a 4 seed right now when they go to Manchester. Obviously, they have Caledonia at home next. They go to Newcastle, and then they finish up with 2 home games, Cheshire and Surrey.
Yeah, going to be interesting for them. They're just going to try and ride the wave and try and get some momentum going into the playoffs. If they do finish in that HC, they will be seeing obviously either London, Leicester or Sheffield and you don't know who you want to play, and you just want to, you know, be on some type of good form going into the playoffs.
Right. All right, we get ready to start the fourth quarter of play here in SLB. It is 10-minute quarters, that I am sure of, as well as 8 seconds to get across the timeline in both the NBA and the SLB. 10 seconds in college. Todd Harris, Matthew Bryan, and Manning with you from the Copper Box in London as we close out what has been a fantastic season so far. So much great ball has been played, and the playoffs are still ahead as Holloway drives to the lane, can't get it to fall, and a mad scramble for the ball. It gets into the hands of the Bristol Flyers. Quickly taken away by Holloway. Picked the pocket of Ekwe, and now he's left open for a wide open three. Buries it.
Great hustle. You know, he was able to, he missed a shot or got his shot blocked. Hustled back, got the steal. Didn't force up a quick three. Was able to pass, get it back, settle, wide open, knock it down.
How many times have you heard in your playing career good defense leads to better offense? As McCormick fires up a three, had a hot hand in the first half. Can't get that one to fall. It'll stay with the Flyers.
But yeah, a long career and heard it many times.
Best advice you ever got from a coach?
Why are you listening to me for?
Serious?
No, seriously. You know, sometimes you can let a coach get in your head.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to complain about everything that I feel that you don't do right. So go out there, play hard, and know your game. As long as you're not doing anything outside of your game, I'm always going to be happy. So
what is that great line from Coach John Wooden from UCLA? Play fast but don't hurry.
Yeah.
Play quick but don't hurry, something like that.
Yeah. Play quick but don't hurry.
Yeah, that is genius.
And that could go to testament about what the Lions do.
Yeah.
You know, they want a fast break, but it's just making sure you're not.
But
playing,
don't hurry.
Yeah, not playing silly basketball or doing stuff out of character. Just playing smart but fast.
Holloway wheels and deals. It ends up in the hands of Jaden Dallaire, and they just burn too much time on the shot clock. So that is a definite win for the Bristol Flyers. Excellent defense. Just a little too much ball not moving around. So you take those small wins if you're Andreas Kapoulas in your 20th year as a head coach at Bristol, and you say, fellas, let's build on this. We're down by 11. Let's get a bucket. If we get a three, let's take it, and then let's get another stop.
Yep, play by play.
Keith Johnson had an open layup, kicks it back out. Walsh with an open three. Can't get it to fall. It'll stay in the hands of the Flyers. Walsh, he'll pull the trigger again on three. This time hits the front of the rim, and it's taken away by Adi Adebayo. So a couple good looks there by the Flyers. They come away with nothing. Coming up on 8 minutes to play in the ball game. Dallaire, hop, skip, jump. Can't get it to fall. Robinson has the rebound. Walsh, McCormick, Key Johnson left open for three. Fakes twice, gives it back to Walsh across court, and third time's a charm. Evan Walsh finally puts his hand there and said, what do I have to do to get a three to fall?
Perfect timing, though.
Yep.
You know, cutting the lead down to 8. Bristol obviously going to use this time right now to kind of make their charge to finish this fourth quarter.
Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with London. I don't want you to speculate, but Key Johnson just does not seem right tonight. A guy that is so active usually, he just, I'm not saying he's injured, but just is not having one of his normal nights.
I think it just happens sometimes, you know. The toughest thing in basketball is consistency. You know, you're playing 30-plus games in the regular season, 10-plus games in the trophy and the cup. So, you know, at this point in the season, you know, you start to get a little bit tired. You know, it's just trying to be a model of consistency.
4 points, no rebounds. Usually he's at 17 points and 4 rebounds. And again, the Flyers out and running, and it is the Canadian Elaine Louis that puts it in. So Elaine Louis now cuts the lead down, and this is a situation that head coach Petar Bosic does not want to be in. He does not want to have to use these timeouts to break the momentum.
Yeah, and as you can see, only having 61 points with 7 minutes left in the game is not where the Lions intended to be. But it's definitely a point where Bristol wanted to slow it down. You know, had a very, very high score in first quarter, both teams scoring over 20-plus points. But being able to, you know, slow the rhythm of the game down and make it more a Bristol type game in this last 3 quarters is exactly what they wanted to be.
Bristol Flyers are like bad luggage. You just can't get rid of them tonight. They just do not want to leave, and if they do leave, they want to leave with a win, and they are playing some inspired ball. They could have given up multiple times. They were down by 15. They've been down by 11 in this quarter, and here they are. They've whittled it down to 6 points. That's 2 3-pointers if you're doing the math at home, and they are certainly capable of that. If they can get Key Johnson and Walsh hot from outside, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you never know what could happen, and obviously McCormick has also shown that he can knock down a couple as he did early in this game.
Yep. And Demond Robinson, we saw him start the game off with a 3. So is it too early if you're Coach Kapoulas and the Flyers to start leaning on the threes too much?
Oh yeah, definitely so. 7 minutes is a lot of basketball left. As long as they keep doing what they're doing on the defensive end, they can carry on chipping away, get into the foul line, or going for points inside the paint.
So the London Lions bring their squad out. If they break the huddle, they'll come back with Hadzibegovic, Dallaire, Aaron Rye, Holloway, and Kieran Sandy. So a strong lineup for them. Key Johnson back on the court. Robinson, McCormick, Walsh, as well as Alain Louis. So here we go. Final 7:15 of the ball game. And it's a 6-point lead for the London Lions clad in black. Holloway running the point. Kieran Sandy left wide open for a 3, and he buries it. Exactly the way Petr Bosic drew it up, correct?
Yeah, definitely so. It looked very deliberate. Let's put it that way. Had a play moving the ball from side to side, and they fell asleep on Kieran Sandy, and that was the same shot I seen him working on pregame.
Kieran Sandy averages 5 points a game as Bristol tries to answer back with their own 3, can't get it to fall. And now London can really apply some pressure here if they can come away with another big bucket. Holloway. Dallaire steps into it. Rattles around. Hadzibegovic cleans it up. He'll put it off the glass in 2.
Vintage London Lions, crashing the glass. You got guys like Hadzibegovic and Jalen Dallaire, length and athleticism, able to come down there and finish.
McCormick long on that one. So it is a 5-0 run for the London Lions. They have responded to their coach's direction. That ball knocked away. Walsh has it, and he's going to be called for the foul. Aaron Rye probably with a smart foul there. As he picks up his second, making it his 3rd foul. As you mentioned, very quiet night for Aaron Rye. A lot of what he does not show up as he takes over the captaincy with Ovi Soko on the bench with an injury. Just 4 points on the night, but Aaron Rye has been fantastic distributing the ball as well to go with 4 rebounds as well.
Yeah, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. As you said, he does so many different things for this team. And he kind of like
look at this. Look at this. The double 4 with a takeoff.
And great to see, the big man, as we said earlier, getting in the passing lane. First it was Jaden Dallaire, now it's Hadzibegovic, getting in the passing lane, reading the play, and finishing with the highlight dunk.
A 7-0 run punctuated by that dunk from Alen Hadzibegovic. And what was a close game has now blown open to a 13-point game. And now 5:40 to play in the ball game. As Andreas Kapoulas had words for the officiating crew, did not like the amount of contact that Hadzibegovic gave away with. But for my money, NBA, I don't think I would have called anything there.
No, definitely not. I don't know if he was frustrated on that particular play. He definitely did have something to say to the referees, but it could have been a play before.
Well, the fans are on their feet here in the Copper Box as they're enjoying the show as the London Lions have responded not once, not twice, but 3 times to the Bristol Flyers' attempt to bring this thing back in and make it a close game. And London looks like they would rather just, send the folks back to the Hackney Wick and Stratford Station and send them on their way because this thing's all but done and dusted.
Yeah, they want to finish this the right way. Still 5 minutes 40 to go, so we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, as you can say. This game has been a game of runs.
Yeah.
Lions have been able to blow it up to 15 points as they were in the first half. And Bristol was able to cut it to 5 points in the first 5 minutes of the half, so you never know what could happen.
Put me into that Bristol Flyers huddle right now with Andreas Kapoulas. What are you telling your squad? What do you need to do?
Stay in the full court, zone press, slow them down, keep it in the half court, but also we need to get some buckets in the other end. So if we could force some turnovers and get a couple easy buckets and whittle it back down to single digits, and then we can see what we can do heading into the last 2-3 minutes of the game.
5 minutes and 40 seconds is a lot of basketball left to play, and Bristol's going to have to take this opportunity to really be efficient on the offensive end. Play quick, but don't hurry. Evan Walsh to inbound. London applying that full court pressure to slow them down in the shot clock. By the time they get this into the front court, that shot clock's going to be, there you go, 15 seconds. McCormick, Key Johnson, big fake there, wide open for three, can't get it to fall. Jaden Dallaire comes away with the rebound for the Lions. Boy, he had a good look, didn't he?
Yeah, great pump fake, get his man in the air, side dribble. Wide open shot, just wasn't able to knock it down.
Holloway on the curl. Thought about the alley-oop, doesn't throw it up there. Ball knocked out of bounds, knocked off by Hadzibegovic. Bristol Flyers ball. 4:59 to play in the ball game. 68-55. London on top, trying to end the 3-game losing streak. As they close in on the final 4 games of the season, Bear loses it. He went for Euro step reach over. Hadzibegovic, he'll take on 3 pink jerseys, and he's looking for the automatic 2+. I think it was that violent. Evan Walsh called for the foul.
Yeah, very, very smart play by Evan Walsh. I know it's his 4th foul, but, you know, making Hadzibegovic earn it from the foul line, and as we said earlier in the show, you know, shooting just 41% from the free throw line, so definitely going to make him earn it from the foul line.
So Walsh will take a seat with 12 points and 4 fouls. 4:44 to play. Hadzibegovic goes to the line, hits the first. I think you jinxed him earlier on that 41% free throw shooting, but he answers you right back and buries that first one.
1 for 2?
They hear everything you say, NBA. Come on. Oh, you got him. McCormick with the rebound. So instead of a highlight dunk on 3 Bristol Flyers, he comes away with 1 point. 4.5 minutes to play in the ball game. 69-55. Go time for the Flyers. Empty possessions just will not work. That shot no good, off the mark for Rafael Thomas Edwards. Now I'll be surprised if London doesn't really slow the ball coming up court. Get into their offense with 12 seconds on the shot clock. Aaron Wright drives, takes the contact off the glass, gets it to fall. Aaron Wright with just his 6th point, but he's had a big imprint on this ball game.
Yeah, these are definitely points when you need them as well. You know, while Bristol's trying to make their run back, Lions are just going to do what they can to maintain this lead.
It's like a hope killer, and a nice mid-range jumper from Kendall Lewis is just when you think you got this thing, maybe you got a hope, you got a chance. That Aaron Wright step across off the glass puts 2 more on the board for the Lions. 71-57. 14-point lead. Need a defensive stand here. Wright with the ball. Shot clock at 6. Wright tied up momentarily. Gets his own rebound. Puts it back in. There were 3 Bristol Flyers right around Aaron Wright. And somehow NBA, he gets a bucket.
He just finds a way to get it done, you know. Doesn't matter what's going on. He'll try and find the rim at all points.
Key Johnson driving, and it's going to be a block called on Kieran Sandy, which will send Johnson to the line. Maybe if he sees the ball going through the hoops, he'll start to feel it with 3:09 to play. Tyler Peterson's going to come back in, give 2 Holloway a breather. Remember, Peterson's sitting on 4 personal fouls. 5 fouls in the SLB as opposed to 6 in the NBA. Every time I make a comparison to the NBA, I'm looking over at you making sure you're signing off on this. Ever since the debacle of the 10 8-second rule. Key Johnson hits the first one. 6'3" guard out of Dallas, Texas. Again, 18 points, 3 rebounds in their last appearance against these London Lions in that 88-78 loss. He gets the second one to fall. So Johnson now with 6 points, well off his average as Peterson checks back into the game and takes the contact. Kieran Sandy, scrappy defense now from the Flyers. Peterson running his man off the screen. Aaron Rye drives to the baseline. Three-pointer on the way. Can't get it to fall for Jaden Dallaire, but the shot clock was down to 1.3 seconds. Foul called. It'll stay with the Bristol Flyers. 2:33 to play. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Ooh, Hadzibegovic came out and foul Key. Key Johnson will take that any day of the week. As an 86% free throw shooter. No, he's not going to the line. It's going to be not quite the bonus yet. He'll step out of bounds and inbound this one. So foul to give by Hadzibegovic. He now has 4. Ball knocked away. Frustration for Key Johnson. And off the hands of Jaden Dallaire, but he'll stay with the London Lions. So a lot of fatigue, a lot of not happy with calls. And with 2:18 to play, London's feeling pretty good about this with a 14-point lead.
Yeah, able to stretch it out and over the last couple minutes once Bristol cut it down to about 5 or 6 points. So Coach Hadzibegovic, Coach Bozic would definitely be happy with how this is finished.
You know what? About 3 or 4 minutes ago, I was going to say Aaron Rye was sitting on 4 points, and I said, NBA, there's somehow he's going to find a way to get to double figures, and he does. A quiet 10 points from Aaron Rye, the March Player of the Month, the Moulton Player of the Month, as Peterson is called for the foul, and that could be it for him. And that is it. 5th foul on Tyler Peterson, who had a great game. Just picked up a few fouls that did not agree with. Neither did the coaching staff, and that's going to bring Tu Holloway back off. Tu Holloway, by the way, NBA has had a great game.
Yeah, definitely leading them in scoring off of the bench. Just came in and does his work, you know, shot a good percentage from the field, and it felt like he just got buckets when the team needed to be.
Tyler Peterson leads with 9 points and 4 rebounds. Johnson hits the first.
I like that communication right there between Tyler Peterson and assistant coach Andre Lockhart. You know, Lockhart was a former London Lion himself, on the coach's self now, but saying, I understand this, but I don't want any excuses.
Yeah. Peterson pleading his case. Coach Locke is saying, I've been there, son. It's not like I haven't played the game. I've been on the same court. I know what you're talking about. Excellent coaching staff for the London Lions and the Bristol Flyers for that case. Aaron Rye goes to the fancy left-hander, can't get that one to fall. And we're coming up on 90 seconds to play in the ball game. So this one's all but done and dusted as Key Johnson now comes alive as he's got 5 points in the last 2 possessions. And that's something they probably needed about 5 minutes ago, NBA.
Yeah, seems like it might be just a little bit too little too late.
Yep.
You know, obviously we highlighted him at the beginning of the game, the team's leading scorer, averaging close to 18 points a game. Having a slow night tonight, finishing, or I would say finishing, but 11 points right now, so it's going to be interesting.
Johnson trying to get his drive back on. All right, so you got a tough decision to make. Player of the game, who you going with?
I think the cameraman already knows this.
Oh, there you go. That's a good production value right there.
Or they're trying to force me, or they're trying to sway my decision.
They're just telling you.
You know, 0-0, Tu Holloway, I think, had a great game tonight with 16 points off the bench in 26 minutes. Been able to come in and do a good job, especially with guys out injured, especially with guys like Mike Brisker out and Obi Soko.
Yeah, Tu Holloway, great night, 16 points on the night. Coming away with 2 rebounds, 2 assists. A lot of active hands, and I think for the most part, NBA, he seemed to break a lot of runs. When Bristol was going on some runs, he seemed to be the guy that would step up and stop it, get a steal, do something to disrupt it.
Yeah, and those are the kind of quiet plays that people don't always notice. But when Bristol was on a 5-0 run, it was him that hit a 2, or when it was on a 6-0 run late in the third quarter, it was him that, you know, hit a big shot to break that run up.
So congratulations to Holloway. You are the player of the game tonight, as London is on their way to moving their record to 22-7. Remember, they've got 3 more tough games. They've got to go on the road to Sheffield twice. They get the Leicester Riders back here at the Copper Box the same time next week. And Jaden Dallaire is tied up, and they're going to get Keith Johnson for the swipe down. 11 points for Keith Johnson tonight. 1 rebound, 6 assists, so he was off his pace. Don't count on that very often, though. I think he's one of those guys that just, like the microwave, he'll heat up.
He'll heat up
with no notice.
Knowing that they got 5 more games left.
Yeah.
He'll want to be rolling once the playoffs hit, so he'll use these games to, you know, find his rhythm again.
Holloway blocked out by Robinson. Shot clock winding down as Hadzibegovic has to fire that one. Caught a little bit of rim. Johnson loses the handle. Hanging, firing, off the mark, scramble, ball, bodies on the floor. Absolute mayhem here at the Copper Box. Pasquale Landolfi ends up on the floor. Cooler heads prevail. 50 seconds left in the game, and it is a 75-64 London lead. This one I want to mic down there. I want to hear what everyone's saying.
I'm not sure you do.
Man, I probably couldn't hear it, but I would like to hear what's going on. To Holloway going out to talk to Keith Johnson. It's all good. I have a feeling we might be seeing you guys again in a few weeks. All right, let's talk about playoffs if we can, NBA. It looks like London, Leicester, or Sheffield are going to be the top team. Bristol looks like they may just stay in it, but Caledonia's not out of it completely. Some good matchups. You look at the middle of the pack. We talked about how Manchester's playing so well. A Manchester-Cheshire first-round matchup, that's not terrible.
It's not at all. I mean, the way Manchester are playing, they've shot up the rankings over the last month and a half. So kudos to the new coach, Herman McDoley. He was able to come in and imprint his style of play on this team, and it's resulted in a lot of wins as of late.
If the playoffs were to start today, remember it is the top 8 teams in the league that make it. It would be London taking on Bristol. It would be Leicester taking on Surrey. It would be Sheffield taking on Newcastle. And then, of course, we talked about Manchester and Cheshire. Those are some great matchups. You go down that list, and you look at Sheffield, if they stay in that 3rd position, and they have to take on Newcastle, that's not an easy out.
Definitely not. Obviously, Newcastle going all the way to the finals in the EMBL competition, European competition, right, and ultimately not winning or coming in 2nd place, losing in the finals. Obviously, there's no bad losses, but obviously they wish they would have been able to get that one back. But finishing 6th in the regular season, you wouldn't expect that for a team that's in international competition and making it to a final.
Another timeout on the floor. For why, I do not know, but it gives us a chance to talk about the playoffs some more. In the league, correct me if I'm wrong, and you'll need to because I've been wrong multiple times tonight. It is home and away, aggregate scoring.
Aggregate scoring.
Win in advance.
Winners advance. What they do, which is a bit different from the NBA or most leagues, is they reshuffle the order. So if a higher seeded team does lose, they still in the 2nd round have to play the highest and lowest seeded team. They have to play against each other again. So
it's not straightforward in a bracket.
It's not straightforward bracket. If say Bristol beat Lions in the 1st round, they do not now take the 1st seeded route to play in the 2nd or 4th. The fourth or 5th playing game. They would have to play the highest seed.
Do you like that format?
No.
I kind of feel like if you get the upset, you deserve to, take that spot.
It's a little bit. It's an interesting one. I'll say. I can see both sides. They're saying they're rewarding whoever's finished highest in the regular season, put in the work for 32 games to always have the lowest seeded team that they play in each round of the playoffs. But I feel like, you know, the playoffs is its own competition, you know. I think everything you do into the regular season is done for now, and now it's 1 through 8. You're starting again, so if you happen to play the first seed team and you beat them, you should be able to, you know, take their spot and have the easiest ride to the finals.
Desperation 3 is well off the mark coming from Landolfi. It was a well-designed play, but he had defensive men right in his face, and so takes us down to 47 seconds to play in the ball game. 75-64, 11-point lead to Holloway, who NBA has voted as the man of the match. He will control the ball and the offense. Jaden Dallaire now into the front court. Dallaire drives, kicks it back out, right into the hands of another player. And unfortunately for Kendall Lewis, he stepped on a wet spot right there and slides right out under it. So the Bristol Flyers now, last gasp effort. Threes have got to probably start flying here pretty quick. Key Johnson left wide open for a three, and he'll take it. So he gets his 14th point late in the ball game, and he cuts the lead down to 11.
Yeah, I think he's really trying to get that average.
Hadji Begovic, he'll back out. Why not? Line it up. Off the front of the rim. Aaron Wright gets another rebound and an assist. And a delicious dunk from Jaden Dallaire. And Key Johnson takes it in. So that does take us to a final. 77-69 is the final. They will count Johnson's last layup, which I don't know if that's going to leave a good taste in the mouth of the London Lions fans that he put in that little three, or that two at the end. But a good match nonetheless. Great first quarter and great third quarter by the Bristol Flyers. They fought back into this game down by 15 at the half.
Yeah, they was able to do a lot of work and take some positives from this game. As you said, a great first quarter, a great third quarter, even a great finish, to be honest. Losing that fourth quarter only by 3 points, but, you know, being able to fight for the full 40 minutes.
Well, the athletes continue to show some sportsmanship as they shake hands. London will meet at the midcourt logo as they will celebrate not only their victory, but their fans that turned out tonight in the Copper Box. Good fan base. Bristol Flyers will make the 2.5 hour drive back to Bristol. It'll be a long trip home for them, especially after this loss, back-to-back losses. They dropped their record to 10-17. They still maintain that final playoff position in 8th place. The London Lions now sit at 22-7 with a tough game coming up at Sheffield on the 18th. So a nice way for London to get off the 3-game losing skid as we take a look at the highlights from this really important game for London, wanting to pick up the momentum they've had in mid-season. As the Bristol Flyers came to town, and they started off really nicely, taking the heat and the defensive stand to the Lions, kept it a close game. Remember, after the first quarter, it was 27-23. London on top just by 4. That lead would balloon to 15 points at the half, but London just used good spatial recognition and a great game by Tyler Peterson. Peterson would end up with 9 points before fouling out. And again, we talked about Holloway, who was the player of the game. Holloway had a sensational game tonight with 16 points for him as he came off the bench. Gave Petar Bosic's squad a real boost when they needed it most. Get a feeling these two teams could meet again. As we mentioned just moments ago, if the playoffs were to start today, it would be London and Bristol in the first round in a home and away situation on aggregate scoring. So it's the kind of game they have. Remember, London has beaten Bristol now 2 games in a row. They got them on April 1st, and then they get them again here tonight on the 16th. Good game, and the game would end with a nice dunk from Jaden Dallaire, not before Keith Johnson put in the layup, and that would be the final score. 77-69 is your finals. We take a look at the final stats from tonight's contest. Rebounds in favor of the London Lions, but Bristol really did a great job in the second half, closing that down, only down by 6 on the rebounds differential. And there you see the field goal percentage, 2 points, 3 points, and the free throws. as we now set it down to NBA, who's with the winning coach, Petr Bočić of the London Lions.
Congratulations on the win tonight, Coach. What's your initial thoughts of the game?
I mean, we had two different halves. First half, especially second quarter, where we played very aggressive on defensive end, holding Bristol on just 7 points for the quarter, which was very impressive. After that, we start having some lapses on the defense, allow them to get back in the game. But one more time, I want to congrats to my players for the win. Very important win for us.
Yeah, as you said, you guys are on a 3-game skid prior to this game. How important was tonight's? How important was it for you to end up with a win tonight?
Oh, very important. It's just before we have those 3 losses, we have a lot of wins in a row, but that's the part of this game. It's also to lose some, but you gotta stand up on your feet as soon as possible, which they did today.
And we know that you finished the season with 3 very, very tough games. You've got Sheffield twice and Leicester obviously at home. What are we going to look forward to in these last 3 games?
It's a great schedule for us, honestly, because we're going to play very strong games before playoff. We definitely have to translate some of the things from tonight to those games. Just some of the minutes, not all.
Definitely. Congratulations again, Coach.
And our thanks to Coach Bočić, as his squad now sits at 22-7. They maintain their lead in Super League basketball. As we take a look at the upcoming fixtures, we got some great games coming up, including a triple header that you won't want to miss. But for the London Lions, they've got to head to Sheffield in 2 days' time and take on a very hungry Sharks squad. And for the Bristol Flyers, again, they got to turn around quickly, and they'll face off against Caledonia, and then they go to Manchester and then at Newcastle. So that will wrap up that, and then we will be down to the final week of the 2025 season. Who will take away the regular season title? Will it be the London Lions, or will it be Leicester, as we get ready for a championship? So that'll wrap things up for our entire crew here in London. Matthew, Brian, and Manning. I'm Todd Harris saying good night from the Copper Box. Once again, the final score, the London Lions 77, the Bristol Flyers 69. We'll see you next week.
Where champions emerge and redefine the game, where limits are tested and greatness is unleashed. This is when legends are born. Super League basketball, a new dawn is here.